Hi. So I don't know. I feel like today's share is just going to come straight from my heart, and I try to I try to be authentic, and yet I think that there has been this little part of me that's like, well, I can't say that. I can't say that. I can't say that. I don't want people to be offended, and yet I realize that if I get this information and then I don't share it authentically, it's not going to do anybody any good except me. And yet, the law of one would say that if we're truly one, then you know, sharing it should be even better. Um, okay, so I don't even know really where to start. I think that spirituality and physicality or humanness or whatever you want to call it, even the way that I'm saying it, it's like spirituality is over here and then humanness is over here. And it's that whole kind of religious concept of putting God outside of you. Um, and it's actually just not true. And it really doesn't matter what we've done or what we've thought or anything like that. And I know that's a little bit hard to hear when you think to somebody who's done something to you that there's no punishment for that crime, or there's no punishment for people's wrongdoings. But that's only because we don't have the full awareness of the all that is at every now moment. And I say at every now moment because I don't know, the stuff that has gone on in my life, the things that I haven't liked, in one now moment, I might be really upset about it. And then in another now moment, I may be super grateful and thankful for it. So anyway, I think that what I'm looking for, at least, is kind of concrete, not even concrete, not kind of concrete things, concrete examples. Like, people speak so, and myself too, we speak so, it's either all human or all spirit. And that kind of esoteric language that's out there, we're one, all that kind of stuff. I'm like, how do I bring that into language and communication that is receivable and digestible and understandable? And the reality is that I've been doing it for years, I just haven't been sharing it. And some of it is out of fear because I don't want people to be upset, because some of it is upsetting. I mean, when I would receive the downloads, I would be like, well, how could that possibly be? How is that okay? And yet, it just is. I mean, the truth is it's all divine. It's all God. And God doesn't care what you call it. It's all the oneness. It's the essence. It's you. It's me. It's absolutely everything that you create, everything I create. It's everything. And so from that knowing, and then we want to think about it because I'm thinking about it. From that knowing, it's like you have to bring that into physical form. You have to bring that into your daily, you have to bring that knowing, that truth, that essence into your day-to-day life. And that's the part that's so hard because A, it's easy to get distracted and forget. But B, it's also, life is real. I mean, it is real. And yet from a higher perspective, I don't like to call it a game. So how do I say this in a way that, without thinking? It isn't a game. It isn't. It's a creation that we collectively are imagining with each breath. And we want to be aware of our imaginings and yet also recognize that that there is really no good or bad. Truly, there isn't. And I know that the tendency, when I hear myself say that, or when my guides say that, I'm like, of course there's good and bad. There's child abuse, there's, and I'll give a million examples. There's Hitler, and my guides are like, no. There are those things, there are those people, and there are horrible, experiences and circumstances. And I'm not immune to experiencing those same things. And yet, I'm losing my train of thought. Sorry. It's not my train of thought. I'm going my thoughts and then I'm losing my flow. So hang on, because I'm really trying to be authentic. I mean, the reality is we, as humans, we don't want to take responsibility, and yet we are the creators. And that's the piece that we're coming together with right now. We don't want to take responsibility, and yet we are the creators. And so we have to take responsibility for every single creation that we encounter, because on some level, you would never experience it outside of you if it wasn't within you and if it wasn't a part of you. And I know that's not easy to hear, because, I've lived life too. And yet it's true. And I want to fight with my guides when they say it. And they're like, you can fight, and you're fighting what is, whether you like it or not. And they keep pushing me right now even to talk about addiction. And it's really a tricky one, because I have a huge amount of compassion for all of us as human beings, with how hard it is sometimes to be human and to not remember who we are. And addiction is an expression of the ultimate forgetting of who and what we are. And they're saying even abusers, even murderers, it's just a huge forgetting of truth. It's a huge forgetting of who and what we are. And so what they're saying is, if we can come from a place of compassion rather than judgment, they're saying this isn't about loving the person. This isn't about loving what they're doing. This is about loving the essence that exists within them, that they have forgotten exists within them. And they're saying, if you cannot look upon another human being knowing and feeling the essence, then please look away, because that's actually our responsibility. And so I'm questioning them right now, just going, what about kids who are being abused? And that what they're saying is, we need to remember by staying with our breath and staying in the present moment, because when you stay with your breath, you can stay out of that good, bad, right, wrong paradigm of the mind, because it's not true. And what they're saying is that every single human being, myself, they're saying included, we chose our lives for better and for worse. And we chose them because we are part of the fabric of the all that is. And we promised to be of service by taking on the lives that we took on. And so what they're saying is that truth, when you are in judgment, is not digestible. And so, hold on. Sorry, I lost it. They're saying that when you are up in the mind thinking about things, you can't see clearly. You just can't. They're saying that the heart space is it doesn't feel like it, but it is actually the 0 point. It is the neutrality. The thinking mind takes you on that like infinity loop of, if this middle center spot that we go to is the heart, and it is, if we go out here, we're in the mind, and then we come back to the heart, and then we're back in the mind, and then we're back in the heart, and we're back in the mind. And, you know, if we could just get to a place where we're kind of looping around a little faster, and they're saying we are. They're like, you're going like this, and then you're staying here a little bit longer in the 0 point, and then a little bit longer in the 0 point where we used to just kind of, or actually, no, they're saying we used to kind of go, and we would kind of whip through the heart part. All of a sudden, this is me being me. I started thinking like, yeah, the second actually I start thinking, I just mess up. So you're just gonna have to be patient with me because I'm learning. Okay, just gonna try to get back in the flow. Oh, okay, so they're wanting me to go back to addiction. And what they're saying is that as the creators, and because we are the creators, but when we forget, we start playing the victim. And they're saying, when you are playing the victim, it is because you are in judgment of yourself or other. And that if you can just get back to the 0 point, the center space where you are neutral and out of the mind, the judgment areas, then you can see it from a higher perspective, from a truthful perspective. And I'm arguing with them right now, saying this is, again, really esoteric, and bring it in. They're wanting to say that, okay, they're saying that drugs, for example, if we are using a substance to achieve something, and then we are offering that substance credit for an achievement, whatever that achievement is, that is a form of putting your power outside of yourself. And we call it, in our human form, addiction. And yet what they're also saying is that same substance that we might give credit to, we, on the flip side, will blame that substance when things don't go the way that we want them to go. And what they're saying is, whether it goes the way you want it to go or not doesn't really matter, because it's all just lessons. That it's just opportunities to learn, whether you like it or not. And I'm like, did you close out the addiction thing? So it's this external focus, and they're saying you could be addicted to anything, and human beings right now are, they're saying Julie is addicted, me, to spiritual teachers and to spiritual seeking. And they're saying if she would recognize that she is spiritual, she doesn't have to seek for anything because she just is, then she would get rid of this addiction. She wouldn't be on this addictive cycle. And they're saying, well, I'm wanting to fight with them. I'm like, wait, what? Yeah. Okay. So they're saying if you are seeking anything outside of yourself, be it a relationship, be it anything outside of yourself, they're saying it is backwards creation, because where creation starts is from a feeling that is already within you. And then what happens is the external thing is magnetized by that feeling. And then what we do as humans, because we want to put the power outside of ourselves, is we attribute the good feeling or the bad feeling to whatever that external thing is. And they're saying this is not about law of attraction. This is not about controlling your feelings so that certain things are magnetized to you, because they're like, again, that's backwards creation. It's the same exact thing. It's working with the outside and not recognizing that it's actually coming from within you. And I'm asking them right now, I'm like, does this even make sense? And they said that yes, it will. And it doesn't matter if it makes sense. They're saying it's a vibrational transmission. And we're actually trying to get Julie to do this more often, and we're going to have her post this video. She doesn't like editing, and I'm arguing with them, sorry. And she would want to cut things like what you just saw out. And the thing is that all of these things are really important, because what we're going to do is we're going to show you through her that channeling doesn't look any certain way. It just is. And so this will bring other channelers with their information out, and it will allow those people to share their information fearlessly, because people like Julie are being fearless. And I am saying to them, I'm like, I'm not fearless. I do worry about judgment. And they're saying, but again, judgment is in the mind. It is not a heart-centered, it's not a heart-centered expression. It's not bad. It isn't good. It isn't bad. It's neutral, but it's just not heart-centered. It's just not aligned. And so when you come from a place of alignment, you're just in the moment breathing, and you're just allowing, and you're just, whatever you're doing, it just is, and it's divine. It doesn't matter. You will never have to edit a video, because you know it when you're in your heart space, that whatever comes through is necessary and needed in each now moment. And the right people at the right time will find it and hear it. And the transmission will be divine, because it just is. So, okay. I'm trying to see what else is going to come through. So I live in the US, and I'm asking them, I'm like, everybody that I work with is up in arms over the presidency. And they're saying that this is an opportunity for people to realize that there is nothing and nobody outside of you who's going to come and save you, because the truth is, you don't actually need saving. So the belief that you need saving is what creates the savior. You don't need a savior when you know who and what you are. And so, the idea of government and politicians and rescuers and heroes, those things are going to go by the wayside when you realize that you don't require those things, right? It's just an uprooting of a belief system that just isn't true. And it's okay. It's just not true. And so there's really nothing to worry about. It feels like there is something to worry about to many people, because those people are in judgment. They're out here. But again, family, when we pull the judgment in to the center point, it's all neutral. It doesn't mean that you like it. Neutral is just, experiencing the extremes, but then knowing that it's all God. It's all God. It's all divine. And I want to fight this, because I know that you want to fight this too, because you wouldn't be here if you didn't. And what they're saying is, go ahead and wrestle. Go ahead and wrestle with it as long as you need to, because what is happening for you. You can wrestle, and you can fight, and you can argue, and you can judge, and you can hate each other for as long as you need to. And yet we remind you that you are still divine. No matter what you do, no matter what you think, you are still divine beings of love and of light. I think I'm going to stop there. And then I think I'm going to make myself post this right away before I have time to second guess myself. I hope what came through was helpful, and I'm just going to trust that it was. Love you. Oh, one of my students, you have to see this. One of my students gave me this. I didn't know what it was. I grabbed her phone off of her desk, because they're actually not supposed to have their phones. And when I pulled it off, it was so satisfying that I'm like, oh, I love it. And it's pink, and I love it. It's my favorite color. And I thought it was just something that, it's because I'm old. I thought it was something that you just you know, like those fidget spinner things or whatever, keeping people occupied. And I wasn't, by the way, the only person who thought this, because my other teacher friend who's 54 was like, oh, it's like a squishy thing to keep she thought it was like a fidget spinner kind of thing too. But what it really is it holds your phone on a, well, I was holding it on a mirror because I haven't, you know, I moved and I hadn't been able to figure out a good way to shoot videos without, you know, holding my arm out. But anyway, my student gave this to me, and it is, you like stick it on, I mean, the kids at school stick it on lockers because then they do these TikTok dances. So cute. Bye.